Hello and welcome to the TCPWave External DNS Diversity demonstration. Gartner has said that TCPWave was born in the cloud and made for the cloud. The CIO magazine has awarded TCPWave a top 25 cybersecurity product for 2017. DNS analysts have created the term External DNS Diversity based on the last year's increase in DOS attacks. The only real way DNS attacks can be mitigated is by providing enough resources to process the good DNS queries and block the bad ones. External DNS providers add things such as additional points of presence into the internet for DNS, geo-redundancy for DNS servers, and Anycast, allowing overloaded servers to be ignored. However, one single provider is not enough to process today's large attacks. External DNS Diversity outlines the use of multiple providers expanding DNS processing. But this brings a new set of problems to managing external DNS diversity. One of the ways that TCPWave resolves these problems is by managing one-to-many external DNS providers from one single pane of glass. This reduces additional admin training of all the DNS providers' interfaces while increasing security and productivity. Now we're going to walk through how easy it is to configure TCPWave to talk to 5 different cloud providers for external DNS. Now we're logging into the TCPWave GUI, and whenever you log in, you come into the dashboard. From here, we're going to go to the Data Management tab, and then we're going to go to Cloud Management directly. In Cloud Management, under the Cloud Provider Types, we have a list of all the pre-configured cloud providers that we have within TCPWave for all the most popular cloud providers. These particular templates provide all the required fields for TCPWave to log into these cloud providers using our REST interface. So let's go back to cloud providers, and in cloud providers we've already created 5 different cloud provider instances with the correct credentials. We're going to update AWS, VeriSign, Dyn, Microsoft Azure, and Google all at the same time. How do we set up a cloud provider? We go and we add a cloud provider, and we give it the organization which is going to manage that cloud provider like we would any other network. And then you choose the cloud provider type. So the cloud provider types, depending on what you choose, brings up the template that has the required fields for that cloud provider. So if we click on AWS, these are the required fields needed to communicate to AWS with our REST interface. If we click on Google, those required parameters are different. And when we click on Microsoft Azure, they're even further different. So these templates are here to assist the administrator in quickly setting up the credentials to be able to talk to a provider. So here we have these 5 already set up. We could set up as many as you want in this particular screen, and this is for all of the data to be seen. So if we had 15 AWS accounts, we could have 15 cloud providers, all with separate names, all with separate credentials. So in this case, though, we just have a 1-for-1 mapping, and we're doing 5 just to make it simple. So after the cloud providers are created within TCPWave, then you need to go and create a zone template. The zone template is going to coordinate what cloud providers are going to be updated from any zone that actually points to this template. So I have a template called Cloud Demo Template, and when we edit this, we're actually going to see that we have it assigned to the internal organization. Its name is Cloud Demo Template, and all of the default information for DNS is where you set it here, but then we go into the Cloud DNS Provider tab, and this is what makes it different. Here's where all those cloud providers that are assigned to this organization show up. So if we had many more, we would just pick the ones that we want to use in this template. In this particular case, I want to do the demo to all 5 of these, so I'm going to cancel without checking any of them. So now we go and we create a zone template like we would for any other zone within a DDI tool, whether it be traditional on-site bare metal, or whether it be an external DNS server, or whether it be an external DNS diversified server in the cloud. In this particular case, we're using singlepane.com. Let's edit singlepane.com, and we'll see that the name is singlepane.com. It's attached to the internal organization, and we're pointing to the cloud demo template, which is the template that has all 5 of our cloud provider credentials associated to it. So what's going to happen is every time we update any DNS related record in this particular zone, it is going to update to all 5 of those cloud providers in parallel. In this particular case, we have DNSSEC not enabled. We are not a restricted zone, so we say no. Monitoring services has to do with our internal TCPWave monitoring, and we'll always keep that on. Active Directory is no, although we can manage Active Directory in the cloud. And our DMZ visibility is no as well. So now when we go to resource records, you can see that we already have a couple set up, and we can add a couple. So what I want to do first is let's just add one called T-Test, and let's give it an IP address. Anything like that, and click add. Let's also take stevesinglepane.com and let's change it to stsinglepane.com, and let's change the IP address a little bit. So we've done an add and a modify. Let's say update that record. So now we've updated the Steve record, and we've added the T-Test record. As soon as we say go, as soon as we say OK, we'll see that it sends the data in parallel to all 5 systems. So that was quick. Now what we do is I have all 5 systems up here in my browser. AWS. So we go to singlepane.com, and in singlepane.com you see that we have steve.singlepane.com, and it's 10.1.10.1. When we refresh this should change to ST, and we should see the new record as well. So let's refresh it, see that the record changed, and then it also added the T-Test at 10.1.101. Let's go to DYN. The same thing, only again these GUIs are so different that this is laid out differently. Under singlepane.com we have Steve, so we have to click on Steve to see. Actually, when we click on singlepane.com, Steve will change to ST, and our new record will be added as well. So when I click on it, it does a refresh. The record that was Steve is now changed to ST, and if you want to look at it, we can. We can see that the IP address changed, and if we click on T-Test, you just see that was added. If we go to VeriSign, we'll see the same thing. We've got the Steve record here, and when we actually go and refresh it, the Steve record will change, and we've timed out, so I've got to log back in again very quickly, and now I have to go down and select singlepane.com, and you'll see that the Steve record changed to ST, the IP address changed to 100, and T-test is a new record that was added. Now if we go to Microsoft Azure, and we'll see that the Steve record is here, and we have to refresh it. So one of the ways of doing that is going to a different zone and come back to singlepane.com. And we see that the Steve record was changed to ST, its IP address changed, and the T-test record has been added. Now we go to Google, and we'll see the same thing. The Steve record exists. Now we need to refresh it. It's a little bit more challenging here. So let me go back to all the cloud DNS zones that we have here. Let me make sure I pick singlepane.com. And you see that the Steve record has been changed to ST, and the IP address changed as well. And the T-test record has been added. Now that we've demonstrated how to connect TCPWave DDI to one or unlimited number of external DNS cloud providers, creating an external DNS diversity from a single pane of glass, from one GUI screen, being able to update all of those cloud providers, we can also discover information from any cloud provider based on subnet and network information and pull it back into our DDI database, as well as we support full DNS, DHCP, and IP management of anything that's in traditional on-premise, whether it be our appliances or any other appliances out there, as well as everything in the cloud and a hybrid of all of this. So bringing it all together, not only do we do the external DNS with REST, we also talk to all of the other cloud initiatives moving forward, which brings us to making us the leader in DNS, DHCP, and IP management for automation, virtualization, and cloud integration. So you can see that in this diagram that everything needs DNS and DHCP, or whatever information is needed from our DDI database, whether it be workflow, give me the next available IP address, assign this IP address, reserve this IP address, get me information on this object. All of that workflow can be passed on to any of the things we see here, whether it be SDN, cloud orchestration. We have a straight up VMware plugin, but we also can talk to all of these cloud orchestration engines through our REST interface. And then there's the cloud integration for all the cloud services that are coming up in the future, whether it be Amazon Web Services, Google, Microsoft Azure. We can see how easy it is to connect to all of these services, and then we go beyond that with a lot of these things. Like we support HashiCorp Terraform and AWS CloudForm in the sense of workflow that's being used at the company premise, and that workflow being then integrated with Amazon and TCPWave DDI. Get next IP address, create a VPC based on the next piece of information. All of those things we integrate with out of the box with TCPWave DDI, as well as when you look at a lot of companies are using or purchasing these web services directly in their own private clouds. So whether it be Amazon Web Services running in a customer's private cloud, or they're running their own version of OpenStack, building their own tools, whether they have a private stack, as long as it is REST driven, we can talk to, or probably already out of the box have communication to all of these things. So this makes us the most integrated DDI provider on the market today. I hope this demonstration was helpful. Look for other TCPWave feature demos coming soon. See what the buzz is all about. Contact us at sales@tcpwave.com or visit us at www.tcpwave.com. You can always contact your local TCPWave business partner. Thanks, and see you later.